Let's be honest, there's probably at least one person out there watching this and being like, what is going on behind the scenes scientifically with this world? Well, I'm going to be answering that question for you today. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting a few scenes and I'm going to be analyzing it, telling you what's going on in the scene regarding the physics, and should give you some insight into how much is really going on behind the scenes. So without further ado, let's get started with scene number 1.
Holy crap! Donald Trump!
So basically, before I play the full clip, I'm just going to tell you what's going on. Basically, Rainbow Dash has this thing coming up and she's trying to train Fluttershy to try and cheer for her, but Fluttershy keeps doing a quiet yay. And, you know, let me just roll that clip right now.
Now, what have we learned?
Lots of control.
Good.
Screaming and hollering.
Yes, and most importantly,
Passion.
right. So now that you know the elements of a good cheer, let's hear one.
Yay.
Ugh, you're gonna cheer for me like that? Louder.
Yay.
Louder!
Yay.
Louder!
Yay.
Ugh.
Too loud.
Okay, so now that I just played the scene for you, let's analyze this thing. Okay, so at the beginning, Dash is flying around Fluttershy, reminding her how to cheer well, and, well, how does Dash flying actually work? Well, as you can see in the background, she's using her wings because she's a Pegasus in this world. And how Dash stays afloat is the pressure on the wings compared to below the wings actually creates an upward lift that allows the pony to just stay in the air while they're flying. And the reason why they have to flap their wings is to just create the thrust to push them through the air so that they're not just standing still. And then when Dash lands on the ground at the end, she folds her wings and then gravity pulls her down right back to the earth.
Cheer. Let's hear one.
Yay.
Now, this one's gonna be pretty obvious, but the reason why they're facing each other when talking is so that the sound waves can travel to the pony. If they want to get the best sound possible from the other party, they're gonna want to face each other so that the sound waves can go right directly to the other party. So when Fluttershy does her yay, she faces Rainbow Dash and gets as close as possible so that the sound waves travel to Rainbow Dash rather than to a random tree.
Ugh, you're gonna cheer for me like that? Louder.
Yay.
Louder!
Yay.
Now, here's the thing. You see, with Fluttershy's yays, they are really quiet, so that the sound waves don't really get to travel too far. But when Rainbow Dash yells, since she's yelling so loudly, those sound waves get pushed out really far, and you can really hear it if you listen closely.
Louder!
And that's why when you yell in real life, you know, there's echoes, because the sound waves travel farther and bounce right back to you. Okay, so this is actually going to be a really interesting part to analyze. So notice how she's using her back 2 legs to stay on the ground. Now, when she was just standing on all fours before, she wasn't using much force to stay on the ground, as she wasn't exerting much force onto the earth because, you know, all 4 of her legs were on the ground. But when she gets on her back 2, she's exerting more force onto the earth, which exerts the force back up to her. And this actually relates to Newton's third law, which states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So with her back 2 legs exerting on the earth exerts that force right back up to her, which allows her to balance on those back 2 legs, and this is known as a reaction force.
Yay.
And then obviously, you know, she uses gravity to put her 2 legs back on the ground to let out her final yay.
Ugh.
Okay, then this last part, pretty self-explanatory. You know, Rainbow Dash face plants and then falls on the ground, and well, she just allows gravity to do that because she thought it was expecting better from her, so she just let gravity take her body to the ground and fall. And that is the physics behind this scene.
Rainbow Dash, you rock. Woohoo.
I got this. No problem.
Alright, moving on to scene number 2 here. So what's going on in the scene is the ponies are training for their buckball game. If you don't know what buckball is, which you probably don't, it's basically this game where you have a ball and you try and kick it into the other team's bucket. So yeah, in this scene, they are training for their upcoming game, and let's just roll that clip right now.
Looks like you two really do need practice.
Okay, so this one was a little bit shorter than the last one, but there's still some stuff to uncover here. Okay, so at the very beginning, when the ball falls and Applejack kicks it with her hooves act as the applied force to the ball, which is already falling thanks to gravity. So when that applied force hits the ball actually starts to accelerate towards Fluttershy, and you can see that here. And also, once again, notice how Applejack's two front hooves are staying on the ground, thanks to the force of the ground exerting back onto her. Now take a look at this. This is actually an example of Newton's first law. Notice how when the ball goes into that basket, it stops. Now this is an example of Newton's first law, which is any object that's in motion stays in motion, and any object that's at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. So the outside force in this case would be the bucket, which stops the ball from moving. And what you see here is not physically possible in the real world. Sadly, we can't just make things fly. Okay, now notice what the ball happens here. The ball like bounces a little bit and then starts to roll to a stop. The reason why it stops is because the friction on the ground actually causes the ball to stop rolling. So when the ball is rolling, basically that friction force slows the ball down and causes it to completely stop. Oh, and look at that. That is another example of Newton's first law. Notice how the ball stayed completely still until Applejack, being the outside force, caused it to move. Okay, now notice how slowly the ball accelerated compared to before. Now, the reasoning for this is because notice how the first time the ball gets kicked, there's real effort put into it. Like, she really makes sure that's a good kick. But the reason why the ball goes so slowly the second time is because she doesn't really put much effort into it. As you can see, she doesn't really strike her legs back. And in fact, she actually just uses her front hooves for this one, doesn't like use her back ones to kick. She doesn't even kick it, she just tosses it. And this is actually an example of Newton's second law. Basically, the acceleration of an object entirely depends on the amount of force that the net force has. So in this case, pushing that ball with more effort makes the ball go faster since you're putting way more effort into it, and that ball is going to move way more quickly. But if you just do like a simple toss or whatever, the ball's not going to really go that far because you're not putting any effort into making the ball go forward at all. So that's why the ball goes more slowly here than before. And also, here's another example of the wings keeping a pony afloat, this time being Fluttershy rather than Rainbow Dash. Once again, with them flapping it so that they can create that upward lift that keeps them afloat. And again, just notice how much more quickly the ball moves because they're putting more effort into pushing it than in Applejack's little toss. Despite Fluttershy's tail being pretty light, she does put a lot of effort into making sure that ball goes forward. And then with Pinkie Pie, she does the thing Applejack did at the beginning where she gets on her front hooves and really puts a lot of force into that kick with her back hooves. And obviously, as you may know by now, the force of the ground exerting back to Pinkie Pie's front hooves, which keep her on the ground. And obviously, the reason why the ball doesn't fall through is because, well, that is a solid object, and that is an outside force which causes the ball to stop falling because of gravity. Which is, again, another example of Newton's first law, where an outside force stops an object from moving.
Looks like you two really do need practice.
And with that funny little sassy comment by Fluttershy at the end, we once again see how the wings keep her afloat. And that is the end of Scene 2.
I know where you live.
Okay, so this is gonna be the last scene I cover in this video, and this one isn't gonna have as much explanation as the other two, but there are still some things I want to talk about, so let's get into it. So what's going on here is basically Pinkie Pie thinks that it's ridiculous that they changed the price of tomatoes from 1 bit, which is pretty much a coin, up to 2 bits, and she argues with the sales pony to try and get it back down to 1 bit, and does a little classic Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck type thing and tricks her.
Duck season, fire!
So let's just play this clip right now. It's pretty short. It's the shortest one in here, so it won't be that long. Anyways, roll it.
I don't want to argue about it.
What do you think you're doing?
Minding my own business. Maybe you should try it.
2 bits for tomatoes is outrageous. 1 bit is the right price.
I say it's 2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
1 bit.
I insist it's 2 bits or nothing.
1 bit, and that's my final offer.
Have it your way. 1 bit it is.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, pretty short clip, but there are some things to talk about here. Okay, so first of all, throughout this clip, you can see in the background that there are these like little flags waving, and you're probably wondering in general how flags wave in general. Well, The obvious answer is the wind. Well, how about we give more of a scientific answer? So basically what happens is the flag actually flaps due to friction, which actually causes wind turbulence that flows along the flag's surface and creates a ripple, which is why you can see the flag waving. And in real life, you'll see that some parts of the flag try to like flop over each other, and this is because gravity is actually also pushing down on the flag, so that causes parts of the flag to try to flop over.
What do you think you're doing?
Minding my own business. Maybe you should try it.
2 bits for tomatoes is outrageous.
And obviously, like I mentioned in the very first clip we looked at, the reason why they're shouting each other's faces is because they're trying to get those sound waves as closely as possible towards them.
1 bit is the right price.
I say it's 2 bits.
1 bit.
Okay, now here's the main part of the clip that I want to get into. Now, as you can see, these 2 ponies are sliding these coins back and forth. And since this coin is on a surface and it's moving on that surface, you're probably wondering, why isn't friction stopping the coin like the ball got stopped by friction in the previous clip? Well, here's the little explanation. You see, there's this thing called sliding friction, which is actually resistance, which are created by 2 objects when sliding against each other. This is also known as kinetic friction, and this is actually a force that is required for a surface to keep moving on another surface. So the friction from before the ball was just regular friction that slowed down the ball, but here this is kinetic friction, which allows the coin to keep moving despite friction being created. And you also have the hoof constantly acting a force on the coin, moving it forward, which helps a lot. So yeah, that's why friction isn't stopping this coin.
2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
Okay, now here's another really interesting part. Notice how when she slams down on the little like desk or whatever, the coin like does a little flip. Now, why is that? Why does the coin just flip suddenly? Well, pretty easy explanation actually. You see, Pinkie Pie's hoof here is actually exerting a force onto this little desk thing. And since she's putting so much force into it, it actually causes the desk thing to vibrate a little bit. And what happens with that desk vibrating is the coin that was on that desk flips into the air because that vibration causes the coin itself to vibrate a little bit, and so it does a little flip in the air. In real life, the coin probably wouldn't flip this high. It probably would take a lot more force to flip a whole coin. But like in real life, if you do slam your desk, which you shouldn't try unless there's like nothing valuable on it, you can tell that things do move a bit slightly. But in this universe, slamming something definitely would cause that to happen.
2 bits.
1 bit.
2 bits.
1 bit.
You know, obviously the coins aren't moving on their own because of Newton's first law, but you already knew that.
I insist it's 2 bits or nothing.
1 bit and that's my final offer.
Have it your way. 1 bit it is.
And the coin doesn't fall through Pinkie's hoof because the hoof is a net force which stops the coin, but again, you probably already knew that. And that is the physics behind this scene.
I insist on paying you 11 bits.
11 bits?
I mean 9 bits.
So there you go. Those are some of the physics behind My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Yes, I'm a 17-year-old man who just did his physics project on My Little Pony, and I do not regret it. Obviously, all this knowledge I didn't have beforehand, so I'm going to flash up some of the sources I use on screen right now. So, yeah, there you go. Those are the websites I looked at. Not every single bit of knowledge required a source. It was just me and my previous knowledge. But some things did require a bit of research, so there are the sources for those things. Hope you enjoyed the video, and since this isn't a YouTube video, this is a school assignment, I'm not going to ask you to like and subscribe. Just enjoy life. Hope you enjoyed the video. I mean, I put a lot of work into this. Hope you all like Miss, and Miss, thanks for being such an amazing teacher. I really hope you like this project, and yeah, thanks for watching.
Smile, 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 smile. Come on and smile. Come on and smile.
See, that wasn't so bad.
Oh, you know, Lois, this movie has helped me understand a lot of things.